Hello everybody, this is Picture Blank here and welcome to Underworld Updates number 59 Dust Particle. Yes, Underworld Updates number 59 Dust Particle. Yeah, that's exactly what this video is meant to be called. But anyways, this is my Dimensions 2016 video. Yeah, I've 28 books to go through. 28. What am I doing with my life? 28 fucking books. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got a lot to go through in this video, but main reason why I'm doing this through Google Hangouts is because the battery in this camera is dead, and at this point in time I can't be bothered to wait to charge this up because I just want to do this video now, and I'm really wanting to just do this video now. Basically, I'm kind of enthusiastic for doing this video right now, so I won't be recording with this camera, as you can see. What was that? Anyways, I'm getting distracted already. But yeah, this is Dimensions 2016 sort of video. I sort of flew there on the Friday, was there on the Saturday, and then was there in the Sunday as well, but flew back on the Sunday night. I had an absolutely fantastic time, probably one of the best experiences of my life, quite frankly. And as you may know, I met some fellow Doctor Who, I guess you would say, YouTube stars there. Dr. Forever, South Park 333 Gaming, and Mondasian Monster. Dr. Forever and South Park 333 Gaming were really amazing people to be around, and even treated Dr. Forever to a bookmark at one point because he's just such a freaking amazing YouTuber, and I highly insist you go and support his videos and stuff because he's just one of my favourite review channels ever. South Park 333 Gaming, fantastic guy as well, really nice to hang around with, great person to have conversations with, and Mondasian Monster. I don't want to get too deep with Mondasian Monster because I mean it's sort of a controversial subject, I guess you would say, but he was all right he was good on the Saturdays and stuff, but he just started getting really weird on Saturday evening and Sunday as well. He was just really just getting weird. I don't want to go into it personally because I don't want this to be a negative video, but the main reason why not all of the Dimensions videos that Dr. Forever mentioned on his Going to Dimensions video on his channel are happening is because Mondasian was just being weird and messing up the recordings, and because time sort of slipped past us, and I would have liked to have done an ARC review, but I'm not too bothered personally. But I'm just happy with what has been done, and just what's happened at Dimensions and whatnot. And I'm just happy to have met Dr. Forever and Mondasian Monster and South Park 333 Gaming, and I'm especially happy with the amount of merchandise I have purchased. But just going to Dimensions was just an absolutely fantastic time, and meeting those two YouTube stars or those three YouTube stars was just fantastic. Met a whole bunch of other YouTube stars there, Who Had X Reviews, the Host Productions was even there, but I didn't go up and say hello to him. Who Had X Reviews was there. I managed to get a selfie with them, and I think I might have even photobombed one of their selfies. So yeah. But anyways, on to the sort of main part of this video, I guess you'd say, is the merchandise. And as you would expect, I did get a lot of autographs and stuff there. I got 6 main autographs, but I purchased some other autographs there as well. Actually, thinking about it, I got 8 autographs there, signed for me. But I also bought some signed autographs as well, which I'm going to go into now. So yeah, onto the merchandise sort of part of this video, which is going to get sort of crazy because I've purchased what in the future, which I'm going to go into later, but I've purchased from Dimensions what in the future will become the 3 rarest Doctor Who books in my collection. One that in the future you will have like literally zero, probably around 0% chance finding. So, and on the topic of rare books, I didn't get these, but Cameron or Dr. Forever reportedly saw some guy walking around with a White Lion Crusaders and some other person with a freaking Perfect Timing book, which is crazy. I didn't see them myself, but I trust Dr. Forever. He's not a liar, from what I know of anyway. That's a scary thought. But to me, he isn't a liar, and I pretty much believe him. I would have liked to see it for myself, though. God, to get a Perfect Timing book would just be amazing. Just like to read like a deleted chapter from The Dark Path would just be incredible. But anyways, on to the merchandise that I managed to get at Dimensions 2016. Now, what I'm holding in my hands right here are CD booklets. Now you're probably thinking, why did you buy CD booklets? It's because these were absolute bargains, because all of these CD booklets here are signed. There was like just boxes, and there's like boxes and boxes of just signed CD booklets of various descriptions. There's hundreds of the things just signed from various stories and audios and signed by people. Mostly soundtrack audios, believe it or not, and audiobook booklets and stuff like that. And as you'd expect, I got quite a few, and all of the 6 that I got here are from the 1960s era related, 5 of which are Heart now, but I'm going to start off with the only Troughton one that I got, and it is this rather beautiful signed CD booklet of the Invasion. I can't quite read this autograph up here, but I believe this is by the person who played Isabel, her down there. He's got Nicholas Courtney's autograph there, and again, all of these were just £5 each, and I mean, you can't really go wrong with these at all. It's just freaking incredible. And there's an autograph down there as well, as you can see. So there's that. I can't quite read that other autograph, but it might be John Levine, but I'm not quite sure. But there's the Invasion signed CD booklet that I managed to obtain. Next one I got was the Romans soundtrack, signed by Nick Evans. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through the merchandise here quickly, because this is going to be a long ass video anyway, and I'm trying to experiment a lot more with my YouTube videos and stuff. So just sort of experimenting with my videos and whatnot. I'm just kind of in the process of doing that. So but yeah, and again, battery on this thing wasn't full, but anyways, I'm just going to go through the merchandise quickly. I then got this signed CD soundtrack booklet for Marco Polo, signed by William Russell, and this person down here, I am Zini Matey. I probably have butchered that name, and if you're watching this, I'm so sorry that I butchered your name, but William Russell obviously played Ian, but this person down here played Ping Cho in this story. So yeah, I absolutely love Marco Polo as a television story, so to get this is fantastic. I then got The War Machines, signed by Anarchy Willis, and whoever that person down there is. I don't think it's Michael Craze, because I think Michael Craze actually died before the CD booklet, before the actual CD itself was released. So it could be Michael Craze, but I am not 100% sure if it is. But it is another double signed one. Interestingly enough, we were intending of doing an ARC review, and ended up picking up this ARC signed CD booklet, as you can see. And yes, these are all £5 each, regardless of the amount of autographs. It's kind of weird I picked up this, and we were intending to do a sort of arc review at the same time. Bit of a bizarre cover in my opinion, the monoids being purple, with like sort of blackcurrant ribena hair, is a bit odd in my opinion, and the Doctor up here looks extremely constipated. But yeah, I've only got this one because it's, as you can see here, signed by Jackie Lane. Now, just in case you didn't know, Jackie Lane did play Dodo, and Jackie Lane feels that she was very poorly written in Doctor Who and wasn't really conceived well. So nowadays she doesn't really want to be associated with Doctor Who much anymore because of how she was written back in the 60s as Dodo, meaning that she didn't sign very much merchandise at all, and that's also the reason why she doesn't particularly want to do any Big Finish audios, or hasn't appeared in any Big Finish audios as of yet. So yeah, there's that. And then the final one is the Smithmakers audiobook, booklet signed by Francis White. So yeah, there's that. And with regards to the autographs, I'm not going to be showing the autographs all in one take, unless all in one section, unless they're like a new purchase. For instance, I purchased some new books there, and managed to get them signed, for instance. So yeah, but old merchandise, I guess you'd say, that I got signed at Dimensions is my Keeper of Traken DVD by Matthew Waterhouse and Sarah Sutton. I absolutely love Keeper of Traken as a television story. I think it's just absolutely brilliant. I love the cliffhanger of episode 2, where the Melker awakens, and it's just got red eyes and stuff, and says some very creepy dialogue to, I believe, Nyssa. But I haven't seen this story in a while, so don't quote me on that. But that cliffhanger that I'm talking about is my favourite cliffhanger in Doctor Who history, probably, along with Dalek's Master Plan episode 11. But just the cliffhanger to episode 2 in this story is my favourite of all time. It's just my favourite cliffhanger in Doctor Who history, I think, and it's a great story to boot. I see where some people are coming from with it being a fairly boring story, because this is a very talkative Doctor Who story, but I still just find this just an absolutely incredible story, and is what I got signed by Matthew Waterhouse and Sarah Sutton. So yeah, there's that. Next DVD I got is, like, I guess you'd say a cliche at this point for like things to get signed by Sylvester McCoy. But yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Remembrance of the Daleks signed by Sylvester McCoy. Remembrance of the Daleks Special Edition signed by Sylvester McCoy. Pretty self-explanatory, really. This, as I said, a bit of a cliche at this point in time to get Remembrance of the Daleks signed by Sylvester McCoy, but it's a freaking incredible story. This is the 25th anniversary story. Silver Nemesis is not an anniversary story in the slightest. This feels so much more like a 25th anniversary story than Silver Nemesis. I mean, you've got two Dalek factions going against each other. It's just fucking brilliant, this story. And again, like I said, very cliche to get it signed by Sylvester McCoy, but it is probably his best story, even though I haven't seen all of them. But yeah, so there's that. Remembrance of Dalek Special Edition DVD signed by Sylvester McCoy. Next up in the terms of autographs, I got my Celestial Toymaker hardback, non-X Library, signed by Peter Purvis. Again, Peter Purvis was absolutely wonderful to meet. Again, I've met him before at Belfast Comic Con last year, in which I got a picture from the massacre signed by him. But yeah, um, just I had a wonderful conversation with Peter Purvis about the Celestial Toymaker Dalek's Master Plan. It was just brilliant. He even said to me that when he was recording the Day of Armageddon commentary with, I think, like Kevin Stoney, Douglas Camfield. I think I might be incorrect there, but and somebody else. Um, he said that throughout the entire recording, Kevin Stoney didn't recognise Peter Purvis as the person who played Stephen, and when the recording was over, Kevin Stoney turned around to Peter Purvis and was like, "You played Stephen, didn't you?" So it was just wonderful talking to um, just not Kevin Stoney. That would have been wonderful to meet Kevin Stoney. But yeah, it was wonderful meeting Pete Purvis again and talking to him about all manner of things from his era. And next up, in terms of final sort of old merchandise signed, I got my Tomb of the Cybermen hardback signed by Fraser Hines and Jeff Cummins. Jeff Cummins being the person who did the wonderful cover illustration. As you may know, I purchased this hardback book off of eBay, already signed by Deborah Watling, and so I thought I might as well just take the opportunity to get it signed by Fraser Hines and Jeff Cummins as well. So unless I get this signed by like Michael Kilgareth or something like that, this is sort of like a perfect set of autographs to get on this hardback. It is not the best condition Tomb of the Cybermen hardback there is out there, I don't think. It's like there's been pages, the very front pages have been ripped out, and sort of the binding is sort of giving way, but I'm still extremely happy to get this signed by Fraser Hines and Jeff Cummins. So yeah, there's that, and as you've probably seen already in the intros, the new intro to my videos and whatnot, back in Belfast Comic Con 2016 of, I think it was March this year, March April time, I did get my History Collection copy of the Roundheads signed by Fraser Hines as well, as you've probably seen in my intro, but I'll just show you again. So there it is right there, signed it in biro, which is quite nice. But yeah, there's that. But you've already probably seen that in the intro to my videos. Now, this video's probably gone on for 10 minutes already, 10-20 minutes already, but it's not over yet. I'm probably going to have to go get a drink in a minute because this is just getting ridiculously long. But now we are on to the sort of, before we get on to the target books, getting too excited there, let me show you some miscellaneous things. A seller at the Hooray stall just gave me these free badges, as you can possibly see there. Show you them here. He gave me for free these little Doctor Who badges, which is quite a nice little novelty item. Quite a fair few of them Sylvester McCoy sort of era badges, but I'm not complaining at all. So yeah, nice little novelty item. He just gave me 4 of them, sort of an interesting little novelty item. Another sort of novelty item I got, there was these sort of bookmarks, sort of handmade bookmarks at a store at Dimensions, listed for £2 each. I also managed to get a First Doctor one, but that's currently in a book in a new purchase book, so I'll show you that later on. So yeah, this is the Second Doctor one, and these are only being sold for £2 each, so really good bargain right there. And I also got a First Doctor one, which I'll show you later on. So for sort of miscellaneous things, I guess I might as well show you these. These are not Dimensions purchases, but I thought I might show you these. I went back to Stacks recently and I found these 3 issues of the Celestial Toy Room comic for £1 each. Just might as well just quickly show these off. Issue 316, which I believe has an article in it about the recovery of Dalek's Master Plan Episode 4. I unintentionally purchased this with more sort of Dalek's Master Plan fan porn in it, which is quite good. Or was it this one? I don't know. But anyways, the next one I got was issue 328. So yeah, I was just sort of interested in reading these ones and interested in reading these, so I just decided to get them up. They're only a quid each. And this one is issue 327, as you can see up there. And I do believe this is the one with TDMP episode 2 in it. No, I don't think it is. This is just about... oh, whatever, I'm losing it. It's in one of them anyway. I can't be bothered to find it at the minute. Now at Dimension there was these sort of pack things that he got with like just so he could get in and whatnot every day and whatnot. And in Dimension and in the Dimensions gift pack you got a free random autograph from somebody. So I ended up getting this autograph from this chap here. The name of which I am not 100% sure because the certificate of authenticity is sort of blocking it with this sort of black writing here on the back. But Andrew Houden Smith, I believe his name is, but so yeah, just nice little random autograph to get for free. So yeah, there's that. Next up is the Titan comic that I mentioned in my previous Dimensions video, and that is my Dimensions announcement video, and that is the Third Doctor Titan Comics issue 1. And as you can see, I did get this signed by not John Levine, Richard Franklin. So yeah, really nice cover variation on this, and it just makes it even better to have an autograph on it. So yeah, really good Titan comic. I may end up reviewing this in the future, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So yeah, if you're a fan of the Third Doctor and fan of comics, this is just an amazing sort of comic to get. It's very fast paced. I only managed to get through this in like 20 minutes, which is pretty quick, and they are really sort of thin reads and very quick reads as well, so that's sort of nice in a way. But anyways, really good Third Doctor issue, very good sort of introductory comic for the Third Doctor into Titan. And I got it signed by Richard Franklin as well at Dimensions, which is pretty sweet. See, where am I going to put this thing? I've just got so much merchandise, it's going to be difficult to find where to put it and whatnot when recording this video. This is they had, and also at Dimensions, with more miscellaneous stuff, at Dimensions they had these sort of back issues of DWM for £2.50 each, and I got this 35 years sort of bumper issue from 16th of December 1998, and the main reason why I managed to get this is Dalek's Master Plan. I mean, it's got, let me see here, let me have a look here. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pages on the Dalek's Master Plan. 15 pages on the Dalek's Master Plan. You cannot go wrong with that at all. I mean, just, oh, that's probably the reason why I got this, just 15 pages of Dalek's Master Plan. Oh, I'm such a sad fuck when it comes to Dalek's Master Plan. And when I met Peter Purvis, actually, I even actually showed him this image from the Destruction of Time in this magazine, and he was really taken aback by it, and it is quite a harrowing image from the Dalek's Master Plan episode 12, Destruction of Time. Only if that freaking episode was to be recovered. I was about to say something, but I've just decided not to because it'd be too weird. But anyways, moving on to other miscellaneous stuff. This is a range of books that I don't really get because they're too expensive, really, and says the person who spends about 10 quid on them. Says the person who spent 10 quid on near enough 10 quid each on 3 Target hardbacks at Dimensions. But yeah, these are a range of Doctor Who books that I don't really get, but they were there. I was interested in having a look at them, and so I decided to get them. The Complete History, Volume 8, containing the Savages, the War Machines, the Smugglers, and the 10th Planet. So yeah, very nicely sort of made Doctor Who books. I would highly recommend you have a look into these Doctor Who books because they are truly fantastic. And if you see them for a good price, I would get them. And I am probably going to try and collect all of the First Doctor and Second Doctor Complete History books because it's 60-0. Need I say more? Just please come out with a Dalek Smarter Plan issue, Hatchet, please. So yeah, there is Complete History Volume 8 containing the Savages, the War Machines, the Smugglers, and the 10th Planet. And I got one more Complete History, and that is issue 21, being Volume 3, containing the Sensorites, the Reign of Terror, and Planet of Giants. So yeah, I haven't opened this one yet, but I am interested in looking at it. So yeah, there's that. And then next up we have sort of a very random item that I wasn't expecting to get from Dimensions at all, really, is this. Beneath Summerfield, Life During Wartime, a short story anthology and edited by Paul Cornell. Basically, Rob Shearman was a big Finnish guest at Dimensions, and he had like this stall where you could like buy merchandise and whatnot and get it signed by him for free. And he had this at his stall for £3. So I thought, Beneath Summerfield short story compilation, and get a free autograph by it, and including an autograph by Robert Shearman for £3. Can't really go wrong with that. And so yeah, you definitely can go. And so yes, I definitely didn't go wrong with this because not only does this look like a great short story compilation, I got what is quite frankly, quite possibly the greatest autograph I will ever get in my entire collection. Ewan has been designated Dalek Emperor. Exterminate Ewan foes. Great to meet you, Ewan. Rob Shearman. And he's just drawn a very interesting looking Dalek right there. So yeah, I don't think I really need to say much on this. I think the awesomeness of this autograph just speaks for itself. It's just, I was giggling so much when he was doing this. It's just such a fucking amazing autograph to have in my collection, and is a book that I'm interested in looking at as well. Right. Moving on to I guess you'd say the PDAs of this video, or they are the PDAs of this video. I didn't get any 8th Doctor adventures, but so yeah. But yeah, moving on to the PDAs of this video, I got a First Doctor historical Byzantium by Keith Topping. I'm pretty interested in reading this story. I think the premise of this story is this book sort of fills in the gap in like the elapse of in between the elapse of time when the TARDIS fell off the cliff in the Romans and before the Doctor, Ian, Barbara, and Vicky arrived in Rome in the Romans, which is quite an interesting sort of idea for a Doctor Who book. So yeah, it should be an interesting read, this Doctor Who book. So yeah, there's that. Another First Doctor historical with a very bleak looking front cover. Good grief, this is really interesting. It is Bunker Soldiers with a very sort of odd sort of face on the front with sort of peeling away to reveal a lizard man or something like that. This might be a pseudo historical, so like sci-fi and historical into one. But yeah, again, should be an interesting read. It's but it features the First Doctor, Stephen, and Dodo, and so yeah, it should be an interesting read. Quite interested in reading it. Next up is another PDA that I am very interested in reading, and that is Dying in the Sun by John D. Burke Miller. Very, very interested in reading this Doctor Who book, mainly because I think just the blurb speaks for itself really as to why I'm so looking forward to reading this Doctor Who book. So I'll just read off the blurb quickly for you. It was the city of angels, and the angels were screaming. Los Angeles, 1947. Multi-millionaire movie producer Harold Reitman has been murdered, and the LAPD are convinced that the drug dealer Robert Chait is the killer. Detective William Fletcher isn't so sure. He believes that the man who calls himself the Doctor has a stronger connection to the crime than he's letting on. While the Doctor assists the police with their inquiry, Starlight Pictures are preparing to release their most eagerly anticipated movie yet, Dying in the Sun, a film that rumours say will change the motion picture industry forever. Suspecting that the film holds secrets more terrifying than anyone could have ever imagined, the Doctor decides to do everything in his power to stop it from being released. In Hollywood, however, it is the movie studios that hold all the power. This novel features first the second Doctor, Ben and Polly. So not only does this have like an extremely interesting plot to it about, like, I guess you'd say a deadly movie film, which is going to be quite an interesting concept to read in a Doctor Who book. It also features the second Doctor, Ben and Polly, pre-Jamie, so that means this takes place in between Power and Highlanders, so that's going to be an interesting read because the second Doctor, Ben and Polly, are a really good character combo, and it's a shame they only got Power of the Daleks together on TV. But yeah, it should be an interesting read. Next up is one that I got on a book exchange with Isaac, or South Park 333 Gaming. I exchanged him my spare copy of Force of Shadow for this, and it is Instrument of Darkness. Quite interested in reading this one. I think it's meant to be a bit of a bad Doctor Who book, but from what I know of, apparently this could be another book that I'm thinking of, but apparently this Doctor Who book actually features the Big Finish audio companion Evelyn Smythe, which is quite interesting. So it's going to be interesting to read this one. Not sure when I'm going to get around to reading this, but it's meant to be a bit of a bad book, but I'm still quite interested in reading this. Now we're moving on to sort of big stuff. The Target books. Jesus Christ. 15 Target books, I think. Let me just check. 6, 9, 12, 15 Target books in total. So yeah, and a couple of these I did get signed, so I'll show you those off. And I got some of the rarest paperbacks you can get in this little bundle for one of them really good price, the other one sort of middle of the road price. Well, two of them for really good prices, but the other one's sort of middle of the road price, but I'm happy to pay it for that much. But anyways, on to the Target books. First one I got is one I'm probably going to review in the future, and that is the Target novelization of Planet of Giants by Terrance Dicks. Yeah, one of the very last Target books to be published before the Virgin books, before Virgin started to do like the reprints of all of the Target books that have been released already. So yeah, quite a thin Target novelization, only 112 pages long, and it does have a rather corny line at the end of it. It says, is the Doctor brightened. The unknown could be terrifying, but stimulating and fascinating as well. Outside in the ruins of London, the Daleks were waiting, which is a bit of an interesting final few lines to the book. But so yeah, still interested in reading this. Managed to get it for £4, which is really good, about a third of what it is on Amazon. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, next paperback I got is another one of the rarest paperbacks you can actually get, and this is one I'm not really looking forward to reading because it's very interestingly laid out, this Target novelization. But anyways, this is the paperback of the Target novelization of the Romans. Yes, again, I'm kind of interested in reading this Target novelization. It should be an interesting read. But what kind of puts me up about this is, even though it is indexed in Roman numerals, the chapters, which is quite cool, it all takes place in like diary entry and stuff. And Donald Cotton did the same thing with his novelization of The Mythmakers, and apparently that novelization is absolutely terrible. So yeah, it should be an interesting sort of read. It's more of a novelty target more than anything really, but it's nice to have this paperback in my collection. Again, should be an interesting read, but I'm sort of hesitant on reading it at the same time. Next up, we have the paperback of Galaxy 4 by William Ems. A lot of people really like Galaxy 4 as a TV story and wish William Ems actually wrote more for Doctor Who. Interestingly enough, she actually was intending to write more for Doctor Who. Basically, what happened was the Underwater Menace was, believe it or not, binned, and a replacement story called The Imps by William Ems was due to replace the Underwater Menace, which is really interesting. So yeah, that's really interesting, but the Imps sort of fell through, so the BBC sort of dug the Underwater Menace out of the bin and then made that instead of the Imps, which was going to replace the Underwater Menace in the first place, which is really interesting. I've watched a reconstruction on the Aztec special edition of this story twice. Very bad reconstruction, very condensed. It's a 100-minute long Doctor Who story. Shortened down to less than 110 minutes. It's not a good reconstruction. But yeah, it should be an interesting target to read. I think I missed out at one time the hardback of this for 10 quid. But yeah, there's that. I also ended up getting Doctor Who and the Cybermen 2010, 2011, 2012 reprints. So yeah, should be an interesting read. It's got an Invasion Cyberman on it, but this is sort of commonplace at the time because we're like artists were like given like the wrong pictures as a point of reference in terms of continuity with the story to actually like design the cover. So like for instance, as you can see by this cover, it's not a Cyberman from the moon base. Because obviously the cover illustrator, which I believe was Chris Arcadios, was actually given a picture of a Cyberman from the Invasion instead, which is really interesting. And again, this should be quite an interesting target novelization to read as well. One I may end up reviewing in the future. It's kind of crazy what the Cybermen do in this story. I've even heard the Cybermen call humans retards in this story just simply because they have emotions, which is pretty crazy and extreme, and just shows how sort of mad the Cybermen really are, which is sort of a really interesting thing to see in this book. Next up, we have the most money I've spent on one Target paperback at Dimensions, which was 12 quid, but I'm not complaining because I really wanted this Target novelization. Again, this is one of the rarest Target paperbacks you can get, and that is a Target novelization of Fury from the Deep. So yes, I am extremely interested in reading this Doctor Who book. As you can see, it is bumper length. It even says on the cover that this is a bumper length Target novelization. This goes on for 189 pages, which is pretty crazy. Again, very interested in reading this Doctor Who book. Very nice cover art, and is one I'm very happy to have in my collection. Next up are two Target books that I'm going to show off at the same time. Ambassadors of Death paperback and Day of the Daleks paperback. I got these in a book exchange with Doctor Forever for Cat's Cradle Warhead. Nice spare copy of Cat's Cradle Warhead. So yeah, I got these two Target paperbacks. interested in reading them. I rented the reprint, the 2011-2012 reprint of this from the library once, started reading it and never finished it for some reason, just because I hadn't got around to finish reading it. That was back in 2014, I think. But yeah, there's that. Day of the Daleks should be an interesting read. Quite a diversified TV story, this one. And then we also have the fantastic Ambassadors of Death Target novelization. Well, it's a novelization of a fantastic story. It's really weird because on the paperback here, as you can see, it's got 3 ambassadors. You might just be able to see the 3rd one just back there. But what's really weird on the hardback version of the Ambassadors of Death, there's actually a 4th ambassador, which is really odd. But so yeah, and considering I got this paperback, and because he's such a rare guest, and since he had a minor role in this story, I decided to get this paperback signed by Derek Martin. So yeah, there is that. Moving on to the some of the Target hardbacks now. As you can see, I've been presenting these chronologically, and I will continue to do so, even though there's sort of breaks in the hardbacks here, like from paperbacks, from like hardbacks and paperbacks and whatnot. And interestingly enough, all of the hardbacks that I managed to get are of hated Doctor Who stories, weirdly enough. So the first hardback I'm going to be showing off in this video is the Invasion of Time hardback, Dust Jacket. So yeah, interested in reading this. Absolutely despise the television story. It's just like an absolutely horrible television story. First 4 parts are pretty bad on their own, but when these motherfuckers get introduced, it's just... it's embarrassing, quite frankly. The final 2 episodes of this story is probably the worst 4th Doctor story I've seen so far. It's utterly atrocious, a television story, but again, I'm interested in reading the hardback of this. I also got the hardback of Megalos. This was really cheap there at Dimensions for only £6, so I decided to get this. Again, should be an interesting read. I also have the paperback of this, but this should be an interesting read. Managed to get this again for only £6. God, my throat's going here, and I've only got what 10 books left. No, 9 books left to show off. Jesus Christ. But yeah, Megalos hardback. Should be quite an interesting Doctor Who book to read. Again, only got it for £6. Not the best condition of Target paper hardbacks, but I'm not really complaining. It's another nice little hardback edition for the collection. Next up, we have the Target novelization paperback of Kinder. Quite interested in reading this story. Very bland cover art. It's very just extremely dull cover, this one, but I am sort of interested in reading this. And the main reason why that I actually got this paperback is because I got this, the Snake Dance hardback. So yeah, so again, very interested in reading the sort of Mara stories in Target form, and probably eventually will review them. So I got this first, and I ended up getting because I got this, I thought it'd be weird to not have this in my collection, so I decided to get this when I got this. So yeah, should be interesting reads. Probably one of my favourite Target covers of all time. This one, it's just absolutely incredible. So yeah, probably one of my favourite Target covers of all time. I just love the sort of perspective from this snake, and it's sort of eating this ball, this sort of mystical sort of sightseeing globe. So yeah, and I love the sort of casual transition from light purple to dark purple up to black on this cover as well. Should be quite an interesting read. This one. Next up, we have the book where my William Hartnell bookmark is in at the minute, and that's the Mordrin Undead paperback. So yeah, quite enjoying reading this one so far. Should be an interesting read, or is an interesting read so far, and I probably will end up reviewing this in the future. And to go along with my Mordred Undead paperback, I did end up getting Terminus paperback, which again should be an interesting read. I mainly got the Mordred Undead paperbacks and this paperback of Terminus, so I can read this one, which I'm very interested in reading, which is the Enlightenment hardback. So yeah, again sort of similar thing with the Mara stories. I got this, and I thought it'd be weird just to have this without having these. So I decided to get the entire Black Guardian trilogy on Target when I got the final story in the Black Guardian trilogy, Enlightenment, on hardback format. So yeah, all of these should be an interesting read, and I am interested in sort of reading them. And Mordred Undead is pretty good so far. Might be able to finish it later today. But yeah, quite interested in reading the Enlightenment hardback, and I probably will end up reviewing like all of these sort of Target books in the future, probably. Well, it'll be a nice goal to do that. It'll be a nice goal to set myself. But the final Target book in this entire video technically isn't actually a Target novelization at all, believe it or not. It is a recently reissued Target book by David J. Howe. This was one of my most wanted Target books, or one of my most wanted Doctor Who books ever, because God, this is just such a freaking amazing and awesome book. I just really wanted to have this book when I first saw it and whatnot. It's just basically one massive guide to all of the Target books and the covers and how the covers were done and the sort of coming about the Targets and whatnot. It's basically the Whoology of the Target books is the best way I can put this freaking beautiful thing. And interestingly enough, I went to Dimensions for my 18th birthday, as a main 18th birthday celebration, and it was David J. Howe who sold me this book. And because of those two factors, David J. Howe managed to sign this to me for my 18th birthday. So it says to you and happy 18th, best wishes, best wish, David J. Howe. So yeah, really cool to have this, and it's even cooler to get David J. Howe to sign it to me for my 18th birthday, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, and now, oh boy, we're into the finale of this video, and shit is going to get crazy, because the rarity of these upcoming books in the future are going to be ridiculously rare. The final one I'm going to be showing this in this free section in the future will be 0% pretty much, because I'm going to go into it more often. But the first sort of what will be a stupidly rare book in the future is this, a recently released short story compilation called Time Shadows for charity. Again, it was one of the authors that managed to sell it to me, which is quite interesting. So I got that signed to me as well by Stephen Hatcher. So yeah, should be an interesting read, and there is a couple copies listed on this website called hulu.com or something like that, for 50 quid each. But when those go, this should be a very, very, very rare Doctor Who book. So yeah, I was quite interested in reading this when I first saw, and I was quite interested in getting this when I first saw like this little news article about it in a issue of DWM. And I was quite interested in reading it, and ever since, and I've now finally got this book in my collection, Time Shadows, and it should be a really rare book in the future. And I'm even happier to get this signed by Stephen Hatcher. So yeah, once those ones sold on that Hulu website or whatever it's called, this should be a pretty damn rare book. Um, and these, and I reckon that when those ones sell online, this will be the third rarest book in my collection. So yeah, there is that. Next up, we have a book that I thought I would never ever get in my collection, and the circumstances of this book is I found it dimension. Oh well, that was the circumstances that I found this in was freaking astronomical. I might as well just show it now. I'm just shocked that I have this in my collection. Times Champion, fucking Times Champion by Craig Hinton and Chris McKayon. Holy shit, I can't even begin to describe how it feels to have a fucking copy of Times Champion in my collection. God. Basic history behind this book. Craig Hinton suggested Times Champion to the BBC. The BBC rejected it. Chris McKayon met Craig Hinton at sort of conventions and whatnot, and sort of kept Times Champion alive as a project. Craig Hinton died in 2006, but after that, Chris McKayon kept working on Times Champion and eventually got it released in 2008 by the British Heart Foundation. And only 400 or 500 copies of this book were made. And believe it or not, I got this at Dimensions for 20 quid, and the guy who was David J. Howe actually, like had 8 copies of this fucking book, 8 copies of Times Champion at Dimensions, which is freaking bananas. I just cannot believe that I've got Times Champion in my collection, and especially for that price as well. And as you'd probably anticipate, yes, I did get this signed by Colin Baker. So this is probably worth, so a signed Times Champion is probably worth a few £100, I'm estimating. So right here, I'm probably holding about £300 worth of Doctor Who book, which is crazy to say. And I'm in tears right now, quite almost, because it's just so unbelievable that I actually have this Doctor Who book in my collection. And especially considering that Dimensions had 8 copies of this bloody thing. So yeah, and I will thank South Park 333 Gaming, 333 Gaming for leading me to this copy of Times Champion, because he initially found out that Dimensions had 8 copies of Times Champion, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, it should be an interesting read, and I probably will review this sometime in the future, but I'm not 100% sure when, because it's a fat-ass book. This is probably the thickest original fiction Doctor Who novel there will ever be. It's 400 pages long perfectly, and the pages are just as white can be. And it just feels amazing to have Times Champion in my collection. Again, I only spent 20 quid on this book, and I'm just shocked that I got Times Champion for 20 quid. And that's what I can really say on Times Champion. Now you're thinking, a signed Times Champion, you probably could, this collection update cannot get better than that. Well, here's a Doctor Who book that will be even rarer than Times Champion. Now, God, I'm just shocked that I am even holding this Doctor Who book right now. Basic story behind this is that, basically this is a book published by Telos, that somehow they have a few copies of this on their website for 15 quid each, but once those go, the chances of finding this book is going to be near enough 0%. And I might as well reveal it now. Telos Publishing, Talkback, Volume 1, The 60s. Signed and numbered edition by Stephen James Walker. and mine is number 9 out of 200, meaning that this will be about, once the ones sell on the Telos website, will be like 2 or 3 times rarer than Times Champion, which is freaking bananas to say. And I'm just shocked that I even managed to find this Doctor Who book at Dimensions. I was just walking past the stall David J. Howe was at, and I just saw this. I was like, oh my god, how much is this? He said 15 quid, and I just got it, because this in the future is going to be like a Doctor Who book in which you're going to have, which is like, I don't know, 0% chance of finding. It's just crazy that I actually have this Doctor Who book in my collection. I just can't even begin to describe this. It's just absolutely incredible. Basic story behind this is Telos Publishing released talkback books, 3 volumes in a 3-book series called the Talkback Books. There was paperback versions, and obviously the hardback versions. There's one in the 60s. This one. There's one in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And the paperback versions are extremely easy to get. Like, I had like 3 copies of each at the store at Dimensions that I got this on. But Telos then released these extremely rare limited edition copies of each of them, and as like special sort of collector's books and whatnot, and even have sort of a special little fabric bookmark for them as well. So, and they basically released these as limited editions for those Doctor Who books, and I believe there may be even rarer editions of these Doctor Who books, which are like same thing, but with a gold spiral instead of the silver spiral. And I think there may be only like 5 copies in the world each of the 60s, 70s, and 80s ones, because they are just like the initial sort of test runs, I do believe. My throat is so going right here. But yeah, I'm just shocked that I have been able to find this just astronomically rare Doctor Who book, and once those ones sell on Telos Publishing website, this will be the rarest Doctor Who book in my collection. This is currently the rarest Doctor Who book in my collection, but once this sells out on the Telos website, this is a Doctor Who book that is pretty much, you've got like 0% chance of finding near enough. It's just going to be a stupidly rare book to find. Only 200 copies of these exist in the world, and just to hold one in my hands is just amazing, and it makes me even more happy that they had a copy of the 60s one and not a 70s or an 80s. And as a 60s era fan, it just feels amazing to hold this in my hands. And again, this is a Doctor Who book I may end up reviewing in the future, and this will be an extremely interesting Doctor Who book to like review in the future. It's just, I just cannot believe that I have this Doctor Who book in my collection, and it's just absolutely incredible. And God, so yeah, that's pretty much concludes Dimensions 2016 video for me. As you've seen, I've gotten a lot of Doctor Who books, especially some just stupidly rare ones, like freaking Times Champion, Talkback of the 60s, Time Shadows. I've just gotten so much good merchandise in this in Dimensions 2016. I think I had the time of my life at Dimensions 2016. It was just absolutely incredible, and if you do have a chance of going to Dimensions ever again, or if you ever have a chance of going to a future Dimensions, I would just highly recommend it, because it was just an absolutely fantastic convention. I would agree with Cameron that it was a little unorganized, but it was just absolutely fantastic, and I may end up going next year. So yeah, and that pretty much concludes my Dimensions 2016 video. It's been really long, all one take, so rambly. I'm gonna rehydrate my throat right now because my throat is pretty much a shriveled up corpse right now because it's quite sore in a minute because I've been talking so much. But I just had an absolutely fantastic time at Dimensions 2016, and if you get to go to Dimensions in the future, I would highly recommend you go to it because it's just such a freaking fantastic convention to go to. But anyways, I think this video has gone on long enough. I have no idea how long I've been recording this thing. It's been 45 minutes at least, probably an hour, but I don't know. Time has just flown by whilst recording this. I've extremely enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it so much, and it's just been absolutely fantastic doing this video. Going to Dimensions overall, getting all of those things signed, getting that freaking Rob Shearman autograph, which is freaking incredible, and I think I might just end up doing an overall Doctor Who book collection video instead of an in-depth Target one. I may do that as well, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think I might just end up doing a Doctor Who book collection video overall, because I've just gotten so many Doctor Who books, and it's just like definite things in this. I've got Dimensions warrants a collection update, a full book collection update for this year, I think. So, but yeah, I've rambled on long enough. If we get an opportunity to go to a future Dimensions convention, I would highly recommend it. It's just absolutely incredible. They had people in remote control in Daleks going around like actual Dalek props. It was just, it was just freaking incredible, and I had the time of my life. And that's it, guys. That pretty much concludes Underworld Updates number 59, in which I just talked about Dimensions 2016, showed off all of the merchandise that I got, and yeah, and the autographs I got. I would highly recommend you go to a future Dimensions if you can. It was just, it was just freaking incredible, and I just cannot recommend it enough. But anyways, guys, select, favorite, comment, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Pitch Girl Black, dematerializing.